When we think of successful people, we typically think of people who are just wildly successful, like a Steve Jobs or a Warren Buffett. Maybe we think of rich college dropouts, maybe someone that invented Facebook or stole it. Some may even think of people in their own lives that they know to be somewhat successful. Maybe a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer. Someone who isn't wildly successful but makes enough money. However, when we think of successful people, rarely do we think of the people who got the quote-unquote useless degrees. Useless degrees like philosophy, for instance. Did you know that Peter Thiel, the billionaire who was a co-founder for PayPal, who has also been wildly successful as a venture capitalist, also has a degree in philosophy from Stanford? How about Wes Anderson, the popular filmmaker, known best for his unique style in films like Grand Budapest Hotel, Rushmore, and Fantastic Mr. Fox? Or Nobel Prize winning author Pearl Buck? Or how about Martin Luther King Jr., Bill Clinton, T.S. Eliot, Ricky Gervais?
Yeah?
All of these people and many more have received degrees in philosophy. We are taught that if we go to college, we get better jobs and we get paid better money. And that money will create time and space and resources for living a happy life. This if-then way of thinking creates a sort of one-way pipeline that says, if you get X, you get Y in the long run. This sounds completely transactional because it is. Students even approach learning in this way, and later they approach work in the same way. We try to exact the necessary information from whatever the required reading was and memorize the key points for as long as we need the information. We focus on whatever the return on investment is. I invested X amount of time, and the return was a certain grade, a certain amount of money or prestige. Typically, someone goes to college with a career path in mind. They want to get a job as an engineer, so they go for engineering. You want to get a job as a doctor or a nurse, then you go for medical. Even other humanity courses like art, music, dance have specific jobs that deal with the specific majors. But if you are a philosophy major, trying to get an internship or a job as a philosopher in the 21st century will prove to be difficult on Indeed. Since we tend to think about success in terms of profit and prestige, we tend to assume a degree that results in no job or notoriety is therefore useless. A degree in philosophy is going to be a lot like most things in life. You will get out of it what you put into it. A common career path for most philosophy majors are things like law, politics, teaching, or something in the arts, such as writing novels or plays. Most of these career paths require ingenuity and out-of-the-box thinking, as well as an exorbitant amount of effort. In my personal experience, I used to judge success on how much money I was making. I had the idea in my early 20s that if I made $100K per year, then I would be comfortable and happy. I reached this milestone in 2020, and I was ironically the most depressed I had ever been. I contemplated ending my life. I don't say that to be dramatic, but I use my life as an example of making what I thought was enough money to be happy. I'm not going to tell you to sell everything and just go live in the woods. But I'm also not telling you to do that, if that's something that you're interested in. I do still think money is necessary to living a happy and successful life in today's society. But if you are earning the money by doing things that you hate, or you're having to trade in all of your time to get the money, then in the end the money won't be worth anything. A philosopher named Henry David Thoreau wrote that the cost of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. If you make millions of dollars but have no time to spend it, then it really doesn't matter how much money you made. This is an example about critically thinking and reevaluating what success means to you. We have to think critically about the limited amount of time that we have to spend on this earth. A degree in philosophy helps you think critically about what you believe and what you want out of life. Nowadays, there are many jobs that just want you to have a degree in anything just to get your foot into the door. Once you are in the room with the person, deciding whether or not to hire you is where you are expected to display what they call soft skills. You have to be able to actively listen to their questions and critically think of the answers to their questions. There is typically not a right answer to these questions, but instead a right for you answer. They will probably ask you questions like, what is your biggest weakness? Or what do you think you would do in this situation? Most degrees teach you to extract information from an article and then give the exact one right answer. However, philosophy majors have to read the entire article or section, or sometimes the entire book, to really understand what the philosopher is trying to say. And after that, we have to analyze what they said and then we have to think about what do we think about what they were thinking. There typically isn't a clear-cut answer in philosophy. You can rarely answer a question with one word. Instead, we are expected to think critically and express our thoughts in sentences rather than multiple choice answers. I would argue that in terms of living your most authentic life, philosophy is the most useful degree. And I can express that idea and defend it with things I learned while getting this degree. This skill can be applied to everything, including selling the idea that you are the best candidate for the job. The interview is not the best place to try to figure out what makes you special or worth hiring. Take the time now to figure out what are your strengths and weaknesses. Why should anyone hire you?